Today I'm going to paint lilacs. I just love the scent of lilacs. And I thought I'd put in some roses, although I'm not sure that they bloom together, but I'm going to do it anyway. I have my usual palette of water mixable oils. Medium white, cad yellow light, raw sienna, raw umber, French ultramarine blue, sap green, and alizarin crimson. And so I'm going to use ultramarine blue, titanium white, and probably a little green and yellow. And I'm just going to paint in a quick background. I ended up putting in some alizarin crimson and raw umber, and I'm going to now use titanium white to make these colors, which are a bit on the transparent side, opaque. Okay, so it's given a sort of misty quality, but I'm going to enhance that by using my makeup brush, an old makeup brush, and just soften that even more, blending it in with crisscrossy moves. I'm sort of happy with that for a sort of background. I'm using raw sienna, and I'm going to, with a small round, and I'm going to put in the stems of my lilacs and they indicate the heads of my roses before I put in my vase, and then I'll know how big to make my vase. I'm going to have the tip of one going this way. This is a lilac, and another lilac going this way. I think I'll have one down here, one across here, and another one just sort of poking out there. Okay, and my roses will be here. Another one sort of here. Another one here. And maybe a couple of buds here and here. And then I'll have leaves. I like lilac leaves. They're sort of heart-shaped. Like that. Maybe a couple down here. Just gives me an idea of where everything is. And now, seeing how my bouquet looks, I think this could be up here a bit more actually. I can see where to put my vase. Maybe like an old china pitcher. That means I've got to put a handle in. I don't know if I want to put a whole handle, but just half a handle. All right. That's where I'm starting with. Okay, so that tells me where everything's going to go. I've added magenta to my palette because I mixed up alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue to give me a lilac colour, but it was too mauve, and I wanted it more pink for my lilacs. I'm going by memory of the bush we had in our yard when I lived in Canada. So I'm just indicating where the flower would be, and this probably is too light at the moment, but I don't want to put dark shadow in and then have to deal with it if that's not what I want. So I'm just using a small flat 1/4 inch and just dabbing in where my lilacs will be. My lilacs might end up lighter or could be darker because I like a variation. The actual bush that I had was quite this colour, sort of a pinkish lilac colour, but they do come in different colours, and I like to see the variation. When I did a Google image, I saw lots of different colours of lilac. So, hey. Now, like I say, some of those might be lighter, some might end up a lot darker. We'll see how it goes. Now I'm going to put in quite a dark centre for my roses. But they could end up much lighter too. Actually, I think I'd like a blue pot. I'm thinking of this as a blue solid china pot. Maybe we put a bit of reflection. Haven't got much room for reflection. Well indicated anyway. Lilacs are made up of florets, and usually they are 4 petals or lobes or whatever you call them. And I have seen one that was 5 petaled, but the common one is like 4 little petals. And I think that's the wrong brush. I'm using a small round. And I think what I really need to use is a filbert. Here's my filbert. And it'll give me a rounder petal. I've got magenta, ultramarine blue, a little crimson. I think I'm going to do my dark one on this side. Oh yes, that's much better. And I might add more lights as we go on. We'll see. You're not going to see every petal because the little florets are sort of higgledy-piggledy all over the place. They're not all facing on. And the rose petals will also cover some of these. So I'm putting them in, but they may not all stay. Bit fiddly doing lilacs. This will probably take me a long time, and I'll probably end up cutting this video quite a lot, so you mustn't mind that. But some paintings take me you know, just about an hour to do, and I'm guessing that this one will be more like 2 hours. and that's too long for a video on YouTube, I feel. We're just putting some little sort of dotty things at the end, because before the florets come out they form these little dots here and there. Okay, so that's got paint on the canvas, and I haven't got any lights or any real darks in there yet. I know the colours are varied, but I need my highlights and shadows, and I'll work on the rest of the lilacs, and then I'll work on the roses. So I'm just sort of dabbing on petal shapes, not being very careful about it. As I work my way through the painting, I will get more careful about the shapes of the florets. At this stage it's just paint on the canvas and sort of outlining things. Getting an idea of where I want my lights and darks. It's all just sticking the paint on there at the moment. So I've got my lilacs sort of planned out, and now I'm going to work on my roses. So I've got titanium white, a little alizarin crimson, a hint of magenta, and I'm going to like stick some petals on my buds. Just a couple of swipes. Not quite open. And I'm going to pull in some petals on my roses, starting on the ones that are furthest away. Put in some little ones. I like to have a center to my roses. I used to know a beautiful rose garden when I was a little girl, and they were always big, old-fashioned, opened roses, and those are the ones that I like to paint. For the petals that are foreshortened, the ones that we only see the tops of really, I simply do a sideways swipe, and that just shows us the top of the petal. I'm going to put a darker one in here. I might make this one a little pinker as well. Okay, that's coming along. While I've got pink on my brush, I'm going to sort of spread a little of it down below these roses, because the glass, even though it's meant to be solid china, it's looking more like a glass vase at the moment, And what distinguishes that at this stage is that you're not seeing the stems coming down, which would make it look more glass-like. This is going to be a solid blue vase. That's what I have in my head, and hopefully that's what will turn out, but we'll see. You never can tell. Sometimes things develop in a different way. Not often with me. I generally know what I'm painting and what I want to see, and that's coming out a little too far. So I'm usually pretty able to get what I want to express on the canvas. I realize I've been working in the dark. I hadn't put my daylight lights on or opened my window blinds. I hope you were able to see. I can now see I have a hair on here. That's it. Gone. I have pets, and my paintings often incorporate hair. I'm going to put some darks in my lilacs, just on the sort of shadow side. Just to give them some volume and indicate where the light is coming from. I'm going to say the light is coming from this direction. I'm adding ultramarine blue to my I'm adding ultramarine blue to alizarin crimson and getting this sort of dark purpley colour. And I'm going to, while I've got the paint on my brush, I'm going to add a sort of darker shadow. It's not really blue enough at the moment, that vase, but we'll see. I'll just keep plugging away at it until I get where I want it. We'll have shadow on this side of the maybe a little down there. Maybe a little in here where the leaves are overhanging. And now, using the same brush, it's my filbert, small filbert, I'm going to add some sort of paler lilac-y pinks. Not pale enough. Don't want it too pale at this stage. Maybe the light catches this on this side. And using a flat, I'm going to put, with ultramarine and sap green and a tiny amount of raw umber, I'm putting in some darker greenery here. And here. I apologize for the fact that you're seeing the back of my hand rather than the brush strokes that I'm making. I had my camera at the wrong angle. And but there's enough of this video to show you what I'm doing, so I decided to salvage it. I think my roses look a little dull. I'm putting some magenta in the center. And I might also add some cadmium red. I'm adding cad red, just a little to the centers. The blue jays are really noisy today. I've got the door standing wide open because it's a gorgeous day here in Southwest Florida. It's February the, what is it? The 12th. And it's just lovely. I'm just dabbing some color around because as I go in with my lights, it'll sort of pick up those colors. I'm going to add a little. It's coming along. I'm going to work a little more on these leaves. Added some titanium white on these petals rather, and just I like to see my petals fluttery, and that's what I'm trying to achieve. I got too much water on my brush. Okay, it's working, I think. I need some darker darks, so I'm going to put that in my leaves. I've mixed up an even paler lilac, and I'm going to work on my florets. Getting a little more picky as I go along, making sure I get petal shapes. to work on the sepals of my roses. There's usually 5. I think that's a little wide, so I'm going to take that off. And I can use a dry bristle brush and just dab that white mark that I left out. Okay. I've no room on my palette, so I've had to put some phthalo blue and a little white on another one, and I'm going to add some colour to this because I really liked the idea of a blue vase. I like that better. I'm going to add some lights to my roses. I haven't done with my lilacs yet, but I have to work on these roses. They're calling to me. That looks better for those, but I'm going to use neat titanium on the top one because I think that should be my star. Okay, so I'm going to draw in my petals with some neat titanium white. I've put it on a separate palette because I ran out of space on my other one. That's white. I'm going to add more light to my lilacs and see how that works out. That is just a little. I usually use any other brush I have that is dry to take off any colour that I don't want. I've got a darker purple, and I'm going to do this one. Just indistinct dobs of paint. And here too. And here. I think I'm going to make this just a little bit wider. Well, that's it for today. I'm pretty pleased with my painting of roses and lilacs. I might try doing white lilacs one of these days, pretty soon I think. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. That helps the algorithm find me. And hit the subscribe button. It's all free and you're not obligated to anything. And thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.